Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user OKEnd712. Am I the a-hole for calling the police? So I think I did the right thing here, but I need some outside perspective. 23 female, I'm in a friend group that is made up of young families. I am the only child-free person in the group. We went to the beach this weekend for a getaway from the family trip. Everyone who had small kids left them with family or babysitters, except one couple, Mike and Lotta. They brought along their 6-year-old child, Jake. He's a great kid and I've watched him before for them, but it would have been nice if he hadn't come. This all started when we were on day 2 of the trip and I had just gotten breakfast at the hotel. I was going to be heading out on my own to the boardwalk, but I had forgotten my sunglasses. So I went back up to my hotel room to get them and found Jake sitting in front of my room. I was confused and asked him where his parents were. He shook his shoulders. And when I asked him how long he had been there waiting, I got the same response. I could see he was getting a little scared and I was freaking out. They weren't in the hallway and they weren't even staying on that floor. I called Mike but got a voicemail. I left one for him about his son being in front of my hotel room. Then I called Lotta and did the same thing. I brought Jake in my room, got him a drink and texted Mike and Lotta, trying to figure out what was going on. Nothing for 20 minutes. I called another person in the group and they told me that Mike and Lotta were with them about to go on a boating tour of the coast. I explained the situation and that Jake was just there with me and he had been just abandoned in front of my hotel room. Mike could be heard in the back saying that they would pick him up once the tour was over in a few hours. I tried to keep calm and told them that they had 20 minutes to get back to the hotel or I was calling the police. They had abandoned a small child in front of an empty hotel room. Who knows what could have happened if I had not come back to my room? After I hung up, I put on some cartoons for Jake and started a timer. After 20 minutes, nothing. 25 minutes, nothing. 45 minutes, nothing. Jake had fallen asleep and I just finally called the police. I explained the situation and that I had no clue where his parents were or how long they would be gone. They sent 2 officers over and when I gave them their numbers, they said they would take Jake with them if they wouldn't pick up. Thank God they picked up when someone other than me called. After about an hour, Mike and Lotta came to the door panicked and the cops had a conversation with them that I didn't get to hear about. I felt like it was the right thing to do, but the rest of the vacation was pretty much ruined. I could feel the coldness from everyone the rest of the weekend. I got home yesterday and I have been debating if I did the right thing. I think I was really just panicked because I can't stop thinking about what would have happened if I hadn't come back to my room. Who knows what could have happened to Jake? So Reddit, am I the a-hole for calling the police on my friends? No, OP, I absolutely agree with you. What could have happened to that little boy had you not gone back up to the room? They abandoned him and put him in danger. You calling the police was the right thing to do. If they didn't like it, well, they shouldn't be abandoning their kid to go on a boat ride. And what is up with your other friends giving you the cold shoulder because you did the right thing by calling the cops? Honestly, I would evaluate going on vacations with these a-holes altogether. You, OP, are definitely not an a-hole. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. And now let's check out the community comments. Prestigious Will 180 says, not the a-hole, you did the right thing. Like you said, OP, who knows what could have happened to Jake if it wasn't you that found them? My guess is the parents thought they could drop Jake off at your room, that you'd watch him, but that's not how that works. The parents left Jake unsupervised. Thank God for you, OP, for doing the right thing. Now the parents will think twice about making that mistake again. And OP responds, if they had just asked me, I would have taken him with me to the boardwalk. I don't mind hanging out with Jake. I just had no idea where his parents were. Fourth Chakra says, you made a difficult decision, but the right decision. The welfare of that child was a priority. The parents fully intended to be gone for hours. They didn't make arrangements in any way whatsoever. Technically, they abandoned their 6-year-old so they could have fun. It's unfortunate no one else in your friend group saw this as a problem, and now they've turned on you. So on that note, you're better off without them. Poor Jake, not the a-hole. United Cicada 6074 says, not the a-hole. I would question the rest of the friend group. Would they leave their small child abandoned in a hotel to go on a boat cruise? Also, I bet the former friends spun a story like you said you'd watch him or something. It is unfair to ask the one child-free person to babysit, and they didn't even ask, and they are lucky you found him and not some creepy man. Just tell your friend group, if that is how they treat their children, you want nothing to do with them. What disgusting people. And DNCR Mom says, not the a-hole. They didn't leave Jake with you. They abandoned him in an empty hallway in front of an empty hotel room. I hope CPS investigates how else they are abusing him. So the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and the main concern is that if OP hadn't gone up to get her glasses, nobody knows what could have happened to Jake. Now, OP has given us 2 updates, so let's move on with the first one. Some of you guessed that Mike and Lotta spun a completely different story to our friend group. Congratulations, you get a cookie. A few days after we got back from the trip, I messaged everyone other than Mike and Lotta to find out what the hell had actually happened and to get my side of the story out there. So they told everyone that I had agreed to take Jake on a trip to the boardwalk that morning, but I wanted to go to the bars around the hotel. After reading that, I just reminded them it was 9 in the morning and no bar would be open that early. Also, I had never gone bar hopping in my life and it was very much out of character for me. It took a few go-rounds, but everyone came around to my side and realized that obviously Mike and Lotta are lying. Everyone is apologizing to me and telling me that they should have thought it through before listening to them. I agreed, but I understood because they made it very convincing when they were on the trip. So, for everyone that wanted to know what happened with Jake, well, CPS has been involved, and yes, charges are being pressed. All I know is that I got a text message from Lotta a few days after we got back with a message that said, "I hope you're happy." There was just a picture of Jake's empty bed, so CPS has taken him into custody, I guess? I'm not sure what it is called. I don't have any more information, but that is the update for now. Okay, so now let's move on to the final update that is 1 month after the first update. So, for everyone asking, yes, Jake is safe. He is currently at his grandparents', and from what I know, he is completely safe and being taken care of. Sorry, I can't give you much more information, but I don't know Mike's family too well, so I don't have a way of finding out more. Just to give you all some more context, we got to see the security footage of Jake being outside of my room with the police. It was almost 15 minutes. It was bad, and it was everyone's guess that something else was going on. For everyone wanting to know what happened to Mike and Lotta, they have both been arrested. Lotta lost her job because she works with children, and being arrested for child abandonment and endangerment kind of looks bad. Our court system is a little backed up, so they are still waiting for their trial. So here is a tea that you should all love. No one is bailing them out. Everyone, including their parents, have refused to put up bail money. All of our mutual friends have pretty much turned their backs on them and now they are just stuck. I don't even want to know what Jake has been going through. When I found out Mike had been arrested, I got physically sick. I'm just glad Jake is safe and with family that actually wants him. I have no idea what made them think this was all okay. I really can't say what Jake's life is like with his parents. He never looked like he was being neglected, but he always did love spending time with me. I think it was because I paid attention to him. Well, OP, considering the crappy situation that this whole thing was, I think this was the best possible outcome. The neglectful parents are facing consequences and Jake is with family that loves him, which is the most important thing in all of this. And I also like the fact that nobody's bailing them out, so they'll need to suffer through all the consequences of their actions. So on that note, thanks so much for sharing, OP, and take care. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user MysteriousStock948. Am I the a-hole for snapping at my sister that she'll choke on her jealousy one day? Hi, I'm 21 female and I have 2 siblings. My sister is 24 and engaged, my brother is 28 and married to my sister-in-law who is 25. Recently, my parents hosted a family luncheon to celebrate my sister's engagement at their house. I went early to help them set up, my brother and sister-in-law a little bit later than everyone else. My sister and her fiancé arrived last. Everything was going well and everyone was happy until my sister got a text and pulled me aside. She asked me if I could go outside and meet a friend of hers who's going to drop off something for her. I did. The something was a big ball of pure happiness, a Saint Bernard dog with a cute little formal tie around his neck. As adorable as he was, I couldn't bring him in because my sister-in-law is allergic. Her allergy is not severe, but still, everyone in the family knows of it. I told the friend to please wait while I talked to my sister. She did not. I texted my sister that I can't bring him inside. She texted that it was fine to bring him in because it's a surprise and he's the newest addition to the family. I insisted that I can't. Then I texted my brother about it because it had been 10 minutes and I'm standing in the driveway with a big doggy that would not stop licking my legs, not knowing what to do. From what I was told, inside, my brother pulled my sister inside and asked her not to bring the dog in, that she knows his wife is allergic. She refused, saying that it's an open space, that sister-in-law will be fine. He then told her the news that sister-in-law is pregnant. I already knew, and they were waiting until she passed her first trimester. My sister then went outside, dragged the dog and then me in when I resisted. My brother, seeing this, excused himself and left with my sister-in-law. We tried resuming the lunch after that, but it was awkward at best. When my sister and her fiancé cut the cake, she grabbed her glass of champagne to make a toast. The toast was her rambling about how selfish my brother and his wife were, that they couldn't let her have one day to herself and had to ruin and overshadow it. She even said that they were not the first or last couple to get pregnant. Both of my parents tried to shush her, but she was on a roll and went on to call sister-in-law an attention seeker that just had to give the family the first grandchild. I finally had enough and told her that green isn't a good look on her and that she was going to choke on her jealousy one day. Then I got up and left. She called me a bitch on my way out. My mom called me after and told me that it was a bit harsh even if she was harsher. She also suggested that the three of us, siblings, talk it out after things settle a bit. My dad is staying neutral. I haven't heard from relatives that were at the luncheon. Am I the a-hole? No, OP, you're not the a-hole. The only a-hole here is your self-centered sister. I'm guessing she knew that your sister-in-law was pregnant and that's why she wanted to bring the dog as the new addition to the family. And on top of that, she decided to tell all the family your brother's news without him even being there. That line about sister-in-law being an attention seeker that just had to give the family their first grandchild, that gives the whole plot on how jealous this woman is. She was the one that ruined her engagement luncheon or whatever, and your mom asking you to apologize? That's ridiculous. Your sister is the one that should apologize to her sister-in-law, to your brother, and to you. So again, OP, no, you're not the a-hole. Your sister is. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Ritika1907 says, "Oh honey, you are definitely not the a-hole, but let's break this down with some sass. First off, your sister pulling that Saint Bernard stunt at a family luncheon? Girl, she knew about the allergy, but instead of being a decent human, she chose chaos. That's like bringing a firework to a quiet night in. And then she had the nerve to drag that dog and you into the house knowing full well the situation? Nah, that's some diva behavior right there. As for your brother and his wife, they're not out here trying to steal her thunder, they're just living their lives. Her being mad that someone else has a big moment, and let's be real, it's a baby, not a new handbag, is straight up petty. And that toast? Yikes! Sounds like she was throwing a jealousy tantrum, not making a speech, and calling you a B-word after you threw down some truth. Oof, that's a classic case of can't handle the truth. You said what needed to be said. Sometimes folks need a reality check and you served it with a side of sass. If your mom thinks it was too harsh, she probably didn't hear the full extent of what went down. And your dad staying neutral? Bless his heart, but neutrality in this mess ain't the vibe. When you do have that sibling chat, keep it real and remind your sister that other people can have good news and it doesn't make her any less special. But if she keeps acting like a brat, maybe suggest she adopt some emotional maturity along with that Saint Bernard. Keep your head up, queen. You handled it like a boss. Charmer143 says, not the a-hole. Your sister was being selfish and obviously has issues with your brother and sister-in-law. Icing on the cake was that comment about giving the family its first grandchild. You can only be nice and stay neutral for so long. No one can fault you for snapping after that whole struggle with the dog and your sister's rant. And Intelligent Bat 1724 says, what worries me is this person will see her plan pissed everyone off and she will blame the dog and take it to the pound. Or worse, set it free in a remote area. People like this woman are so wrapped up in their own world, they have zero self-awareness. And Opie responds, I didn't think of that, to be honest. Even though I don't think my sister would ever harm a defenseless animal, I'll keep tabs and make sure he's treated well. So the community agrees that Opie is not the a-hole and that the sister is jealous. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hi guys, it's been around a month or so and a lot of people have been asking me about the doggy and it's easier than telling people individually, so here is the update. First things first, the update on my sibling situation. My brother and sister-in-law have gone low contact with my sister until they get a proper apology, which hasn't happened yet, but I think it'll happen soon. My sister has been talking to my mom about wanting to be in our future nephew or niece's life, so there's that at least. Also, my sister-in-law is officially out of her first trimester and she and the baby are healthy and thriving, thankfully. She has been having a bit of a hard time when it comes to smells and pregnancy stuff, but I think that's to be expected. Don't come at me, it's just from what I've read. We've also been planning a gender reveal party for next month, so we're just focusing on the positive stuff for now. As for my sister and I did send her an apology for how harsh I was with her at the party and she accepted it and apologized for calling me a bitch. But it's been so damn weird when it comes to our dynamic, especially since she's suddenly all up in my business about who I'm sleeping with, but that's another issue. And now for the awaited update. Barkley. Turns out the big fluff ball has an adorable bark, one you wouldn't expect when seeing him, hence his name. As some predicted, my sister was not up for the massive job that is taking care of a Saint Bernard, and a week and a half after the party, she called and asked me to find him another home. I volunteer at a shelter and know a lot of people who would love to adopt. I honestly wanted to keep him myself because I've grown attached, but I live in an apartment right now and not only would it be impossible, it would also be cruel to keep him cooped up like that. Luckily, a friend of a friend has the space for him to be happy and safe and took him in. Of course, with the promise of letting me see him whenever we're both free, and now I get random pictures and videos of Barkley in his element, all happy and bark fighting with the guy's next door neighbor's Yorkie. Don't worry, there's fences between them. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you guys for all the advice and opinions. I appreciate all of you. Well, OP, that's a great update for Barkley, and regarding your sister, at least she apologized to you, but she still owes an apology to the sister-in-law if she wants to be in that little baby's life. But in any case, thanks for sharing, OP, and take care. Now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliance, and it's by user Joao Balaya. Malicious Funny Middle School Compliance. I'm a middle school teacher, and one of my 7th graders is an ADHD kid with a heavily active imagination. He loves working with his hands, so he is always cutting up paper, braiding yarn, etc. We always encourage him to clear his desk for class and at least try to keep the clutter away, and he always does it happily, although he sometimes has a little back and forth. Student, let's start the lesson. Put the yarn away. Oh, it's not yarn, it's technically nylon cords, so I can keep doing it, right? This is always lighthearted and in no way aggressive. He knows he's being pedantic, it's just for fun. Preparing for his responses, I always try to find a way to phrase my sentences in a way it'll be hard to counter, and yesterday it backfired. He was messing about with paper and he told me, "Teacher, today you can't tell me to stop cutting paper because I'm not cutting, I'm just folding." And he had a huge amount of folded pieces of paper on his desk. So I said, "Very nice, student. So will you please stop manipulating paper so that we can start the class?" And smiled victoriously at him. Little did I know, he looked at me and, "What did you say? Stop manipulating paper?" And immediately proceeded to put away his notebooks and textbooks. I knew I had been cooked and just told him he had outsmarted me again. He kept at his desk doing nothing for like a minute and then he laughed it off, winked, and got his stuff back on his desk. No folding paper anymore. I love the little dude and I cherish these back and forths we have. Such a wholesome malicious compliance, OP. You did tell him to stop manipulating paper. Definitely got you there. Thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.